channel, everyone, especially all of you Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your September horoscope 2026. So welcome back. Thank you for watching. I am your astrology coach. I use whole sign houses, tropical zodiac, and I call myself the astrology coach because I am here to help you navigate through life's situations. Right? If we know what's happening, if we know the transits that are coming for us, we can do better. We know better, we do better. So thank you for tuning in. If you know anyone that loves astrology like I do, please be sure to share my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. So how are you feeling, Capricorns? We've just had Mars traveling through your 7th house, and we do have a reprieve of that at the end of September. So just some big things happening in September. It does start out quite quiet. We have 2 transits that are happening on September 1st, and then a quiet week, and then we have 4 events that are happening on September 10th. One of them including a new moon in Virgo, and Uranus goes retrograde. And near the end of the month on the 26th, we do have a full moon in Aries and some planets moving different positions, which will change the energy for us. So I guess let's just get down to it, and I will bring your charts up. All right, Capricorn, so you could be listening for your sun, moon, or rising sign. As always, I say grab your natal chart. It's good to have it with you as we go through these transits for the month of September, because if you have any natal planets that are touching any of these transits today, it could certainly have a different meaning for you. So if you don't know how to access your natal chart, I will add a free video in the notes that shows you how to use free software so that you can have your natal chart printed up and have it ready for all of our sessions. If you are listening for your sun sign, that is pretty much your ego. And over the age of 40, most people do resonate more with their sun sign. That is based on the day you were born, right? So if you were born in October, you are a Libra sun. However, your rising sign coincides with your natal chart. So based on the houses and the placements, that will be similar to your rising sign. And that is basically your character that you play in the world. Now, your moon sign has to do more with your moods, your inner thoughts, things that the world doesn't necessarily see you as, but you do relate to it. So I tend to listen for my rising and my sun sign. Like I said, they both tend to be relevant for me. So these videos have been taking anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. So if you want to grab a snack, get a drink, thank you for spending some time with me, and I will take you through the month of September. So on September 1st, we do have Mercury in your 9th house of Virgo, which is sextiling Mars in your 7th house of Cancer. This is a very supportive transit for your long-term vision, for higher learning, or your one-to-one relationships or any business partnerships that you have. So Capricorns, if you create content, if you teach or you advise clients, your detailed expertise is going to help motivate your audience or your partners in that 7th house. So really making you come across as a very authentic person. If there has been any emotional static or passive friction in a key relationship, Mercury is going to give you the exact practical language and logic needed to clear the air without triggering any defensive reactions. So also happening on the 1st, we have Mars in your 7th house of Cancer, and it's squaring Saturn in the 4th house of Aries. And this can create a high pressure dynamic between your one-on-one relationships and your home, family, or personal foundation. So you've got a lot going on there in your 4th house. You've got Saturn, Neptune there. But Mars in Cancer is going to bring emotional reactivity, defensiveness, or a sense of urgency. They could be coming from a partner or a spouse or someone that you work with. Now, Saturn in Aries also brings domestic responsibilities or feeling restricted at home. Do you feel like you're stuck because you have to do certain chores you don't enjoy doing, or you feel like you're taking on more than you should be and other people aren't pulling their weight. Those are some feelings that could be coming to front there in early September. So the square it's like hitting a wall or being met with resistance by a partner. So Saturn is someone wanting you to slow down. Now, Capricorns, you are ruled by Saturn. So I'm thinking you're the one maybe wanting to slow down and someone else is wanting you to go faster, make up your mind, speed up. So let me know how that resonates with you. That is happening, those two transits on September 1st. And then we really are starting quiet. There's not a lot happening in early September until we get to the 10th. So let me move my wheel, and we have 4 different events that are happening on September 10th. So the first one, we have Venus entering Scorpio in your 11th house, and this can bring financial opportunities, strategic connections, and just loyalty within your social circles, even looking at your long-term goals. So the 11th house is traditionally the house of good spirit and gains from your career. So Venus here can bring some lucrative career opportunities or sponsorships or even financial backing if that is something that you're seeking. It can bring about clients or some professional alliances. Now, because Scorpio seeks total trust, be careful to watch out for underlying envy, jealousy, or possessiveness within a friend group or some online community. So focus on building genuine, mutually empowering relationships. So Venus is in her detriment here in the 11th house. So she's not her total harmonious, peaceful person. She takes on a dark quality. And because this is your social groups, I want you to watch your back. Be careful, make sure no one is talking behind your back. This is happening on around the 10th of September. Remember, I say we know better, we do better. I'm not saying this is going to happen for everyone. This is general bell curve astrology. Your natal planets will also make an impact. So I'm really going to tell you about the many possibilities of how this may manifest for you. All right, so also happening on the 10th, we have Mercury entering the sign of Libra, which is also your 10th house. And this is going to impact your work and your recognition in a positive way because Mercury makes you smart, makes you clever. People will notice you. You're fair, you're able to solve problems. So Mercury in your career house in Libra, it's not a bad thing. Use it to your ability. You are smart. You got it. Don't take on any of this imposter syndrome. You can do it. Okay, Capricorn? You got this. On the 10th, we have Uranus going retrograde. And Uranus, let's see, where is Uranus? In your 6th house of work. So this will evaluate for you what is not working in your daily life. Uranus can sometimes bring a sudden disruption to help you bring awareness to things. So pay attention to what is going on in those 6th house themes. It could be pets, it could be work, it could be your health. So if your body's giving you signs, definitely pay attention. Because Uranus is retrograde, it's not going to be a big, bold move. It's going to be something more internally. So pay attention to your body here. There could be sudden shifts in nervous energy around your workload. So are you a teacher? This could be very common, right? It's the start of the school year. So this will prompt you to fix habits, refine your diet, adjust any physical routines you have. Because if you are a teacher, you're getting, right? You're going from summer and you're transitioning to all of this, chaos happening all at once. So don't overdo it. Take your time, relax, and really look at how to maximize your routines. You may be thinking about breaking away from tasks that drain your energy. That's normal. That's natural. That's okay to do sometimes, right? You need a mental health day, you take a mental health day. All right, and then we have this new moon in Virgo happening in your 9th house. So this brings a focus to your higher learning, any travel, teaching, any legal matters. So you can expect some significant insights here regarding your long-range plans to become clear during this time. The new moon brings new beginnings and manifesting in this area of the ninth house. This is a good time for creating a vision board. All right, what do you want to achieve during this new moon that will culminate at the end? So this new moon occurs at 18 degrees in Virgo. When I look up the Sabian symbol, it says Ouija board. All right, so I want you to watch for symbols because I think any questions you have, Capricorn, answers to important questions may be found here during the new moon. It's a good time for meditation, to contemplate. If you ask and listen for the answer, I do believe it will come to you. All right, we are moving ahead to the 12th. So on the 12th, we have Mercury in your ninth house, Virgo, trining Pluto in your second house of Aquarius. So because Mercury rules communication and Pluto governs deep transformation and power dynamics, this trine is going to create a seamless link between your big picture vision and your actual bank account. So a ninth house Mercury is going to bring you ideas around teaching, around publishing, content creation, legal matters, or higher education. So with this trine, Pluto in your second house of personal income and self-worth, this is an ideal moment to turn your knowledge, your courses, any of this wisdom, you can use it to help build revenue. So you want to start a YouTube channel? This is a great time. This would be a very productive time to do this. So this is September 12th. All right, so Pluto in your second house is transforming what you value and how you generate wealth. So this aspect is going to allow a key conversation from a mentor or any piece of higher learning to spark a profound shift in how you view your own self-worth and your own financial independence. So if you write, teach, or speak publicly, your words are going to carry immense weight this month. Your audience views you as an authentic authority, making it powerful. It's a very powerful window to publish any content or sell high ticket offers or pitch large scale projects, okay? So mark your calendar here. This is a good transit for putting out content, showing people what you know. You will be very productive. On the 17th, sorry, not on the 17th, on the 15th, so on the 15th, we have Venus squaring Pluto, and a square causes some tension here. So we have some tension between social influence and your financial control. So we have Venus in the 11th house. This is your house of networking, friends, social groups. And Venus wants deep, loyal, impactful connections with your audience, your collaborators, your social circles. However, we have this square from Pluto in the second, which is going to expose possibly some power dynamics around money that's tied to these groups. So you may feel friction between what a community expects from you and what you actually want to charge or claim from your value. So, you know, we just talked about launching something, launching a product and not selling yourself short. Now this is a little piece to say, be careful, right? Be careful because there may be some friction here. If you're all of a sudden raising your price, yeah, there's going to be some friction. So I'm just giving you some thought, some reflection into that. That's one way we could look at this. If you collaborate with business partners or membership groups, or you have joint income splits, Feelings of leverage could come to light. So it's very crucial to review agreements that you have with someone if you have some shared resources. But again, I'm going to say it, don't underprice yourself just to keep the peace within a network. Now, Scorpio and Aquarius are both fixed signs. So making the square is really a high stakes moment of truth. So you might realize certain professional groups or audience expectations or friendships can trigger some subtle power struggles or self-doubt around your own financial independence. So use this aspect to cut out any toxic leverage or unshakable boundaries around your worth. So don't feel like you're not good enough to be with a group of people or to be with someone. You are worth it, and you need to know your self-worth. Speaking of that, we're going to dive into Chiron, our wounded healer, because on the 17th, we have Chiron leaving Taurus, going retrograde, and entering the sign of Aries. Let me just make sure this matches here. So Chiron leaving Taurus is going to help us to release some creative blockages. So Chiron has been in your 5th house. And the focus was on unearthing performance anxiety or a fear of visibility or wounds around pleasure, romance, or some self-expression. So you worked through feelings of inadequacy regarding your talents or projects, and even your right to simply enjoy life without constantly needing to prove yourself through work. So was that happening for you, Capricorn? Let me know if this is resonating with you. So with Chiron entering your 4th house, we're going to look at healing the roots and the home, possibly addressing some core family wounds. And I did put out a great short video on Chiron. So when you bring up your natal chart, find Chiron and see where Chiron is in your natal chart. And that indicates a lot of your karmic wound that you are sent here to this universe to heal. So Chiron in Aries, this is a overall general transit that the world is going through right now. And this is going to highlight vulnerabilities tied to childhood or early conditioning or even some ancestral patterns. So you're called to address the areas where you felt maybe you had to fight for survival or independence or even emotional safety within your family line. And I'm sorry if this is getting deep for you, Capricorns. But it seems like some of you have some deep emotional family wounds that we need to really work on healing. So this Aries energy is raw and it's action oriented. So in the 4th house of your private life, Chiron is pushing you to confront this instability or this lingering anger or any childhood boundaries that were crossed, giving you the chance to become your own protector. So Capricorns naturally tend to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. Chiron in the 4th house will bring some vulnerability to your inner sanctuary, teaching you that asking for emotional support at home is not a sign of weakness, but it's a critical step in building true long-term security. So Capricorns, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are people that love you, that want to help you, and you don't need to be strong and independent all of the time. This is what Chiron wants you to learn, wants you to know. So once you can do that, you can heal that wound and move on, right? Isn't that freeing? Isn't that peaceful? So our next transit is on the 21st. So on the 21st, we have Mercury in the 10th house of Libra, which is sextiling Jupiter in your 8th house of Leo. So for a Capricorn rising, like you, or a Capricorn sun, a sextile between Mercury in your 10th house and Jupiter in your 8th house is going to create a powerful, harmonious flow between your public career and your shared resources or deep financial transformations. So a sextile creates a smooth channel of opportunity. It means clear communication and strategic planning in your career, which can activate some favorable financial outcomes or high stakes backing if that is something that you're seeking. So how might this manifest for you in your world? Let's talk about that. So this is excellent timing for negotiating contracts, if you are pitching something to some high value clients, or if you are securing backing for a project. So your ability to articulate right now is going to be very high. You can be strategic. You are able to earn authority and trust with people that you meet and talk to. This could also be a financial breakthrough through a strategy. Okay, Mercury is all about strategy. So a business partnership, sponsorship, or a client contract can yield some strong financial growth or resolve some financial matters that you may have encountered. Then on the 22nd, the sun enters Libra in your 10th house. So when the sun moves into Libra and illuminates your 10th house of career, your public status, your reputation, this is also around the September equinox. So the spotlight shifts entirely to visibility, authority, professional balance for any Capricorn sun, moon, or risings. This can also lead to some diplomatic leadership. So Libra brings a tone of collaboration, elegance, and partnership to your leadership style. You're being called to lead with charm, fairness, and compromise rather than pure force. So because the sun natively rules Leo, your 8th house, this ingress directly links these 8 house themes, which is client money, investments, power, and deep value, directly to your 10th house of career and reputation. So how might this manifest for you? A season where VIPs, clients, or your broader audience pay close attention to what you are an expert on. This can also highlight professional earnings through some high-ticket clients or joint ventures. This is also an ideal timing to overhaul your professional aesthetic, rebranding yourself, or stepping into a high visibility spokesperson role. All right, this is a good time for any of those opportunities for you. And then on the 26th, we have a full moon in Aries. All right. So the new moon in Aries occurred on April 17th, 2026. So whatever seeds, home boundary intentions, or personal emotional shifts you initiated back in mid-April are now coming to a culmination. They're going to be reaching full clarity during this full Aries full moon cycle. Sorry, starting to lose my voice. Take a water break. All right, so a situation involving your living arrangements, real estate, physical home, or household members could reach a peak or a resolution during this full moon. So how might this resonate for you, Capricorns? Maybe it's just reclaiming your personal boundaries. We talked about some of those old ancestral family wounds. So Aries energy demands independence and courage, and this lunation is going to highlight where you need to take charge of your personal space. Maybe establish firmer emotional boundaries with family or releasing old domestic burdens. So again, this is the end of September. Maybe people have been showing up at your house without calling first. I'm just going to feel some of that going on. Now, with the sun sitting directly opposite in your 10th house of career, this full moon is going to create a tension between your public professional demands and your private home needs. Again, forcing you to relook at that home work life balance. All right, on the 27th, we have Mars entering Leo in your 8th house. So Mars enters Leo late September and will feature prominently in this section of your chart. So because Mars meets Jupiter in Leo in November 2026, and then later stations retrograde in early 2027, revisiting Leo, this 8th house transit isn't just a brief pass like some of them. It really is going to represent a major multi-month overhaul of financial backing, deep business models, and joint ventures. So Capricorn, I really want to know, what is it you are working on? Because your whole September chart is filled with business, financial backing. So if you've got something in the works, this is looking really fruitful for you. So you want to step out in a business, this seems like a really good time for you. So when Mars, the planet of action, drive, ambition, and energy, enters Leo in your 8th house of shared resources, transformation, investments, it's also intimacy and psychological depth. It's going to shift your focus toward high stakes financial strategy and personal empowerment. So Mars here gives you the urge to take action regarding any debts you might have or joint investments. So you aren't playing small with your finances. You're actually looking for strong returns and power over your resources. So check those stocks end of September. Look, I'm not a fortune teller, but based on the astrology, looking like we might see some returns on those investments. Mars brings passion and friction. So you also could feel a strong push to renegotiate terms or shared responsibilities to ensure an equal investment between you and your partner. And then our last event on September 30th. So Mercury enters Scorpio in your 11th house. So this means you aren't interested in superficial small talk or casual networking. With Mercury in Scorpio, he really wants high value alliances, deep trust, strategic alignment with influential groups, or even your wider audience. So the 11th house rules your long-term goals, your revenues from your business. Scorpio energy digs deep to analyze the market data, refine business plans, or research niche communities. So it's a good time for researching what's going to help you improve. I think Capricorns, you naturally apply a Scorpio filter to your social circles. Are you sometimes maybe a little more judgmental, or I don't know what the correct word is here that I'm looking for. I don't know what the word is. You're just maybe judge a little too much, but that's not the word I'm looking for. But you're able to see right through people sometimes, and those group dynamics. You don't like to be with people that aren't like you and don't share your values. So this is coming to light at the end of September, and you will really see who truly backs your vision, who your true friends are, and who is supporting you. So Capricorns, that's what I've got for you for the month of September. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you will like. If these resonate with you, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell, because every month I put out a full 30-minute horoscope for each sign. as well as each weekly horoscope for each sign. So thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate you, and I hope to see you back here soon. All right, take care, everybody.